It's been said that the horizon of the history of the 20th century was in the beginning of 1914, because in this year, the world which was then known as the civilized world entered a war that burned down the structure of the old political and social systems and turned them into ashes. However, these ashes brought along the world known as the 20th century. The outbreak of the First International War, also known as the Big War, was in the center of Europe and was started with the excuse of the murder of the Crown Prince of Austria. Nevertheless, these flames were not only limited to Europe, they spread across almost all the countries of the world, from the overstrained empires to the colonies and semi-colonies. That's how a new design was considered, and a new plan was scrolled on the allured quarter. Surprisingly, in these circumstances, Iran was the most controversial issue for the most old and litigation wars. The country was invaded by foreign armies from two fronts, the Russian Tsar on the one side and Britain on the other, giving them the excuse and rejecting Iran's neutrality between the problems of the Imperial Ottoman to invade Iran's lands. At this time, our country was a semi-ruined country, which was still overcoming the effects and confusion of the revolution, sparked and destroyed by the Constitution, and was suffering from famine, contagious diseases, and lies. Because of the continuation of the problems between Haydari Nemati and the groups of political opportunists, most people who were fed up with political games had taken shelter to quiet corners and were waiting for a helping hand to rise from anywhere and do something about the matters. Instead, with the attack by foreign armies, once again, a large group of courageous men were forced to stand up against the attacks under the guise of different movements. These fierce and effective movements were established all around Iran. In the remote areas of Shiraz, Hamadan, and Mashhad, some riots broke out. However, Gilan was consumed by mysterious silence and just waiting.
Step back, move it. Don't come any closer. Don't come any closer. Step back.
Where do you think you're going? Pushing everyone to get inside the room? Oh, what are you looking for?
The manager.
What's your business with him?
I have a message for him.
A message? I'll hand it to him.
I've been ordered to give it to him.
Uh-huh. Well, then come back tomorrow. The manager's busy. He has a meeting today. So what's up, Mr. Mare?
Didn't I tell you the king changed his mind?
Oh, man. You mean he's not going to Isfahan anymore?
Of course he's not. It was clear from the very beginning.
He's nothing like a real king. These ration receivers of the court just won't give us the chance. They just won't give us the chance.
My message is urgent. I have to deliver the answer right now. For God's sake, tell the manager.
Wait right here. I can tell you what he orders.
Okay, for sure.
I have no doubt that the Russian consul's invitation today is about providing food for the army. All these Cossacks and troops that got off in Anzali in the last couple of days are scarfing down all the provisions. Famine will soon hit Gilan, but no one's worried about the people.
The Russian consul thinks we have rice and grain stocked up, but we're not giving it to him. And we never will.
The vice-consul was threatening us with that cruel Bagdanov yesterday, was saying if the army's not provided with food supplies, he'd send his killing machine soldiers down to the market. He's going to bastinate some of the businessmen at the junction.
Ever since King Muhammad Ali was dethroned and the Russians found a way into Gilan, every God-given day they've brought in the troops first, then remembered about the ration of the people water and the barley of the horses and mules. Gentlemen, Bagdanov's threats yesterday weren't something new. However, I think we've been called down here so unexpectedly and so urgently for a different reason today. How come Ovsenkov sent an invitation himself?
You're right. If their problem was really with the food supplies, they'd call in the businessmen and the merchants, if only just to scare them. They wouldn't invite Mr. Saeed Mahmoud and Mr. Saeed Abdul Faham.
Inviting us isn't something new. Every year in Muharram, Mr. Ovsenkov, the consul of Russia, has some type of sincerity towards the religious authorities and the clergy. Last year in Muharram, he suddenly went to see Mr. Saeed Mahmoud unexpectedly.
Slowly they seem to be learning from the English that you have to keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
We're halfway through Muharram today. Last year's invite was before Muharram. I think today's invite has something to do with the news we've received from Qom. The pilgrimage started last week. I mean, it's been 8 days since the religious authorities and lawyers of the assembly have left the capital city.
The country's reached its boiling point, and we're the last ones to find out.
Sir, you have to have a serious talk with Mr. Heshmat Al-Dole about the telegraph station. Since the 7th day that the Russians have brought their army to Tehran, Mr. Ovsenkov has taken over the telegraph station.
It is highly likely. Today the Russian consul's going to give an ultimatum to Mr. Saeed Mahmoud and make him give his pledge that when the clergy are preaching, they will not say anything about these issues to the people.
Of course, Mr. Saeed Mahmoud's not going to agree to this matter. And therefore, in this case, they'll arrest some of the people they've marked. Even if it's just to scare some people.
Well, in that case, agreeing on coming here today seems to be a wise decision.
Maybe it's best if we come up with an excuse and dispense with this meeting.
What do you think is best to do, Haji? Stay or leave?
Sir, a young man's waiting outside for you. He says he has an urgent message for you.
Excuse me. So where is he?
Oh, he was right here. Where did he go?
Mirza Hassan Khan! Mirza Hassan Khan!
They're calling you.
Mirza Khan! Mr. Kazmai! Mr. Kazmai! Oh, hello, Mr. Kazmai.
What is it, Anayat? What's with all this noise?
I have a message for you. An urgent message.
All right, stop yelling so much. Come upstairs.
Who was it?
Anayat, the prince's son's nephew.
Prince's son?
Which one?
Have you forgotten? So soon.
Which one?
The young one, Mirza Koochack Khan.
But isn't he in exile?
Of course, man. It's been 4 years now.
I think he was in Tehran. Is he back?
When did he come back?
Last night.
Hello, sir.
Why so unannounced?
Don't worry. He hasn't come to town. He's at the fire temple, at Mashti Muhammad Rasul's house.
Is it Mirza Koochack Khan's handwriting?
Yes, it is.
So he's back. But he wasn't allowed.
What does it say?
He'll get arrested if he's not returned without the Russian consul's permission.
What does it say?
Part of the letter is about the manifest of the pilgrims.
Listen, gentlemen. Today that the battle for the survival of Islamic virtue and the freedom of the country is seriously endangered by the actions of the foreigners. To stand against the definite pressures of the foreign tyrants, all we can do, for the time being, is to stay united and join all competent components of the country. It is also crucial for Iranians to avoid using any names or titles of society in order to keep a fair equality of their own names or fully united, and in all alliance defend our religion, country, crown, and throne of the government, and refrain from using problematic names which could cause problems. We must all rise under the title of the defenders of country to perform our religious and national duties. From all the advocates of the pilgrims, Syed Hassan Motarez, Muhammad Sadegh Tabatabai, Neza Sultan, Solomon the son of Mohsen. What time's our meeting with the Russian consul?
Before noon.
Are you going to get a residence permit for Mirza Haji?
Mirza's capable of handling the rebellious Cossacks. When he was exiled and left us, it seems that he took honor away with him from here. He has to come back no matter what it takes.
Right on time.
Anayat! Go get Uncle Mirza. Hurry up! Hello, Mr. Kasmai.
Hello, how are you? Mirza Ismail Khan, what a surprise. Finally, we get a chance to see your charming face, young man.
Uncle Mirza! What the hell's the matter with you, Anayat? You're so loud, the whole world heard your voice.
It's embarrassing how you call someone with that voice of yours.
You weren't there to see what a scene he'd caused today at the newspaper building.
I've told him 1,000 times that no one should know that Uncle Mirza's returned.
Take it easy. Where's Mirza anyway?
He's not too far. He's somewhere around here. Come in, please. He'll be back soon.
Is your father here?
Yes, he is. Father and Uncle Mirza left from this way on foot. Uncle Mirza was waiting to see you this afternoon.
Have you ever seen Uncle Mirza in this outfit?
Mirza and I met when he was practicing his religious duties. He was younger than you when he joined the Liberty Fighting Sect. He was 10 years younger than you are now. Such great days. That's when the scarves, cloaks, turbans, and rosaries changed into cartridges, guns, and grenades.
Rosary? No, when Uncle Mirza's not holding a rosary in his hand, it's just like he's missing something.
Have you put these into frames?
No. Aniat did.
Bravo. Where did he find them?
From here and there. He got one of them from you. Have you forgotten? Here it is. This is it.
Huh. Yes, you're right. I had this picture too. Oh, if Mirza was my uncle, I'd collect all his photos too. We took this one when we were soldiers of the Tonakabon army, and we were going to take over Tehran with the zealots. This is me. This is Sheikh Ali Shishabor, and this is Dr. Heshmat.
Aha.
Uncle Mirza used to show off with this handgun.
Ah.
I guess your mother's pretty happy that Uncle Mirza's back.
Oh, yes. She's so happy that she's planning on throwing a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's going to be a proposal ceremony after Safar and Muharram.
Congratulations. So you're going to get engaged to Javaha, Mr. Kaz's daughter.
Me?
Mm-hmm.
No, not me. Uncle. Uncle Mirza's going to.
Mirza? Does Mirza want to get married?
He doesn't want to. But Mother's making arrangements. When Uncle Mirza hears the word wife, he just goes pale. And his residence permit isn't even for sure yet.
Yes, it is. It was issued today.
He's been forgiven.
Mm-hmm. This morning, when Enayat brought in the letter saying Mirza's back, Mr. Sayed Mahmud, the clergy, was at the newspaper office. We all went to see the Russian consul from the office.
You didn't have to go to all this trouble, Mirza Khan.
I didn't have a choice.
I never thought a great Sayed, like Mr. Sayed Mahmud, would go all the way to see the foreigner's consul just for my forgiveness.
Wasn't the paper that Enayat brought in your handwriting?
It was, but it wasn't for you. It was for Mr. Sayed Mahmud, the cleric.
Mr. Sayed Mahmud wanted to go there himself. No one forced him to.
Constitution and freedom, it doesn't get better than this. For entering and living in your own hometown, you have to get permission from the foreign consul.
Take it easy, Mirza. This is what Constitution means. It means the forgiveness of the Constitution.
Well, hello there.
Hello.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. What a surprise, Mirza Khan. We only get the chance to see you every few years that my uncle comes to visit.
Thank you very much.
Well, don't get your hopes too high. He's probably here to take your brother with him.
Take who? Take him
Yes.
where? Where do you want to take him?
Oh, your brother's brought you homesickness as a souvenir from Tehran. I'm here to take him out on a ride with my carriage. Perhaps he'll feel better.
Take him? I won't let you take him anywhere. You just got here and you're planning on leaving?
Ah.
Don't be disappointed, sister. I'll be back by tomorrow.
Go, go. If you leave tomorrow, we don't know when we'll be able to see you again.
I promise. I promise I'll be back tonight, sister.
She's a guest at Mr. Cass's house for a commemoration for the martyrs of Karbala tonight.
That's right. We're going to see him there too.
Mr. Cass's house?
Yes.
When Miss Javaha sees Mirza, she'll just faint.
Maybe Mirza doesn't want to get married. What's the rush?
What? Mirza could only dream of marrying her. Poor girl, she's been waiting for him for years now.
Uncle Mirza.
These good-for-nothings just don't stop.
They're getting off in Anzali, one ship after another. It seems that they're planning on taking over Iran.
The hell they are. If they have the courage, they can go and release Baghdad and Kermanshah from the Ottoman army.
Listen. Keep an eye on the things in the luggage. I don't want anyone to open it.
So come back here to collect your belongings.
Goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.
Take care.
You're quiet. Don't you want to know anything about our meeting with the Russian consul today?
When Enayat came back, he said some things.
When Mr. Sayed told the Russian consul that you were no longer going to be involved in any political activities, he was just thrilled. However, when he heard that you were planning on coming back to Rasht, he was devastated.
So how did that absurd man agree on letting me return?
Apparently, he did it for Sayed's sake. But I think you should be careful, because something smells really fishy about this freedom. My guess is this so-called Mr. Russian consul's done this. So we can print it in the paper. In return for your freedom.
I mean, you put it in such great words.
Listen. In honor to the clergy, we must announce that anyone who ever tries to cause any distress, especially on the holy days of marking the death of Imam Hussein and the martyrs of Islam, the impostors will be severely punished, and the mediation of the religious authorities in minimizing the punishment will be ineffective. And it is the final cause of glory. Here, read it yourself.
The owner of the glorious land. Why him?
You don't know anything about the conditions of Rasht. That good-for-nothing General Ovsinkov's eyes and ears.
It seems that I've put everyone in trouble by coming back.
This notice isn't really related to you returning. The people of Gilan, especially the people of Rasht and Anzali, are being crushed by the Cossacks.
The holy expedition of the religious authorities last week has scared the Russians and the English. Today's invitation by the Russian consul and giving this notice are all just some kind of scam to scare people.
Mr. Sayed Mahmud had to show some kindness for your remission.
So that's why Mr. Consul's threatened the clergy. And that's why you've arranged the meeting at the commemoration tonight. Are you going to print it?
Once again the sun's shining, yet it's still dark. Where's the man whose loss has filled everyone's heart with sorrow? And it feels like the pain's spreading even more as the sun sets. The pain of his loss is everywhere. If I call out his name, if I call out his name, it'll be proof to us that Judgment Day is not impossible. The resurrection which is named Muharram at the sacred court, which is not a place for anguish. All the believers will be crying and mourning his loss there. All spirits and countries will be mourning as well, as if it's the morning of the nobler. The sun will shine from east to west. Once again the sun's shining, yet it's still dark. Where's the man whose loss has filled everyone's hearts with sorrow? And it feels like the pain spreading more as the sun sets. The pain is...
Aren't they here yet?
No, not yet. It's a long way here. Actually, Mashhadi Muhammad Rasul, Mirza's sister's husband, and his family were here on the 9th and 10th day of the martyrdom of Imam Hussein and were helping us. Yesterday afternoon, when they found out that Mirza had returned, they went back to the fire temple.
Confirming what Mr. Amlashi said. I think it's best to read the decree that was given to us today as soon as they get here.
The one from the pilgrimage committee?
No.
Oh, the one that you read earlier today.
No, this one's come from a long way.
From Iraq.
It's from Najaf. It's been written, signed and stamped by Ayat Allah, Mr. Haj Syed Mustafa Kashani. God willing, it'll help us put an end to this dispute once and for all.
You
read it, Mr. Aman.
Yes, sir, in the name of God. If anyone is to inform the infidel who deserves to be fought against, such as the Russians, the English, the Italians, and the French, will be known as the enemy of God and Prophet Muhammad. O Allah, send blessings on Muhammad and the progeny of Muhammad, and will be known as the suppressor of Islam and a betrayer. And it will be a great sin. As God said, those who are against God and the messengers of justice, it's not unlikely that infidel governments will try to cause dispute along the way. Any assistance to them by Muslims means being punished by swords and spears. And for those who stop the troublemakers in this atrocity, or if faced with any apostate, it is highly important to show as much hate and ignorance towards them, whether they're your father, son, brother, or any other relative. God and all Muslims must eliminate all mischievous actions.
They're here. They're here. Gentlemen, it's Mirza Koochack himself.
No shame. They went towards the tents.
Hello, Mirza.
Hello.
The gentlemen were all waiting for you. By the way, Mr. Kasmai, you were supposed to be here earlier.
Welcome.
From the voices of
Come in, please.
greeting to the holy prophet, arousing honor to their land.
Allah send blessings on Muhammad and the progeny of Muhammad.
The universe would have turned.
Miss Jabbaha? Miss Jabbaha!
The darkness of that day around. Oh, the darkness.
Where did Miss Javaha go? Did you see her?
Just before you came, Mr. Aman was reading the manifest of the religious authorities of Najaf.
Here you are.
I've seen it. I saw this manifest when I was in Tehran.
From the moment that the Russians took over the telegraph station, the only way for us to get information about the conditions of the country has been through these manifests.
If some of these manifests were distributed in provinces amongst tribes and regions, all the people of Iran would riot against the Russians and the English as their religious duties.
Reading some of these manifests in the ceremonies held in Muharram would be good enough.
It is likely that the Iranian government would go to war with the people beside it.
The Iranian government and war? Which government? Against which army?
Since there are so many Russian spies around these days, I don't think reading these manifests would be such a good idea. If the names of the religious authorities gets out, it might grab the attention of the Russians and cause disturbance or trouble.
Mirza Hassan Khan's right.
Making the system public now is not a good idea. Acting secretly will give us a much better chance to operate. We can print as many of the manifests as we need at the printing house and distribute them to wherever we need. There are some people in the villages and cities in Gilan that would distribute them.
Reading the manifest requires literacy.
That's right.
Most of the people in those areas are illiterate.
Gentlemen, our country's way past these actions. People are fed up with this cruelty and injustice of the foreigners and the inefficiency of the government. In Isfahan, people attacked the Russian consul and killed him. They shot the English consul. The people of Kerman kicked the Russian and English consul out of the city on a donkey. In Yazd, the consulates and the Bank of the Royal Branch have been shut down. But what about here, in Gilan?
Nothing. The liberal leaders here aren't able to do much, but the rebels can do anything.
I'm sure you all know what the people in the south, in a village in Bushehr, what they have done to the British army.
The same things happened in Iraq ever since the Shia and the Sunni religious authorities issued a holy decree together. The deploying of the Russian and English troops has been corrupted. The Ottoman armies gained huge successes. Now the time has come for the Iranian government to enter the war and give credit to the Islamic ranks.
This country's just like a piece of wood that from each end is under pressure. On one end there's the Qajar Rain, and on the other end the foreign tyrants. As long as the Qajar Rain stands, the foreign tyrants will stand as well. And as long as the foreign tyrants stand, the Qajar Rain will exist. We must take this piece of wood and break it into pieces. Otherwise, this piece of wood will break our necks and kill us all, just like the time of the provisions of the Constitution.
What's the matter?
Mr. Ali Nagi Pirbozari has come to the ceremony.
Interesting. So the impious has turned into a worshipper and Muslim.
How long has he been here?
He just got here a couple of minutes ago.
Who is this Mr. Pirbozari anyway?
He's a close friend of Mohsen Khan Amin al-Dole. He's not an important person.
He's always hanging around with Bagdanov and Ovsinkov.
Send 2 or 3 men to the alley. to bring us some news.
Yes, sir.
Listen to me carefully. Be careful.
Okay, sir. We will.
I remember when Mohammed Vali Khan, just before the liberal system of Gilan was formed, when he wanted to go to Tehran to take it over. 500,000 reformers accompanied him. Now the very same Mohammed Vali Khan, who's the army commander of Donakabon in the state accountant cabinet, has become the minister of war. The number of the Iranian troops hardly reaches 100. No good will ever come out of this government for its people, Mr. Amlashi, let alone for Islam or religion. This country's been looked at as a red apple for 130 years from the outside. But from the inside, it's a rotten apple.
He didn't mean to take the government's side. The truth is that by the holy decree from the religious authorities, we can't think of this war as war between the Christian governments. What he meant was that war in our area has a completely Islamic aspect to it. This is how it is everywhere. We have to operate in a way that all Muslims from everywhere will enter this holy decree. Gentlemen, Mirza's right. It's time we took action. According to our previous experiences, and considering the current conditions of the country, we must keep in mind that organizing political parties is one of the most dangerous factors that divides and breaks down the national powers. Therefore, as long as the country, especially Gilan, is in danger of being taken over by the enemies, private and political organizations will completely be annulled. So, by divine help and the approval of the gentlemen here today, we will see this as the union of all great powers and unite under the banner of union, brotherhood, and friendship. We will rise by the title of the Board of the Islamic Union, and together we shall rise and perform our religious and national duties.
چقدر جنگل خوسی ملت وسی خسته نبوسی می جان جانانم ترگم میرزا کوچک خانانم خدا دانه که من نتانم خفتن از ترس دشمن می دیلا بیزدانم میرزا کوچک خانم چقدر جنگل خوسی